Welcome to Spiritually Fierce, the podcast. I am your host, Dr. Ricky Jane Adams, principal and founder of the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence and creator of the Spiritually Fierce movement. Spiritually Fierce is not just a phrase. It is a movement of awakening consciousness of which we are all a part, if we want to be. In each episode, we'll explore what it means to be spiritually fierce, how to become it, and why it is the revolution in consciousness that will save the world. Join me and my fierce guests for deep conversations on spirituality beyond the trinkets and superstitions of the new age that will support you to increase your power to serve. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am here today with the beautiful Sarah-Beth Barrett, a recent graduate of the 100-hour Intuitive Intelligence Method and a self-healing facilitator, which we just discussed before I hit record is an evolving title and way to describe the work that you do in the world. I would love to begin by asking you to tell me a little bit about what that means. What is a self-healing facilitator?
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. In my own awareness, recent discovery, the way I see it is we all have the inherent power to heal ourselves, and that stepping into offering healing modalities is not, I am not the healer. It is a bi-directional partnership with the person that I am interacting with, that I'm working with, that I am the channel for healing, but it is with their intention and their effort in many ways that really truly facilitates the healing. And so it's recognizing and releasing this concept of being the healer, but instead facilitating the healing.
I love that. And we talk about in the method that it's the alchemy of client and practitioner, right? None of this is
Yes.
happening in isolation, and that someone working with someone else will have a whole different set of fears and processes and things to release because it's a
Yes.
different alchemy. So I love that description. So you had been working in the industry, we'll use that as a blanket term, well-being, coaching, healing, prior to joining the method. I would love to understand, what was it about this program that you felt would support your service that you were already doing?
Sure. So I was primarily offering mindset coaching, and although it was quite powerful in that uncovering that awareness that we all have the power to transform our mind, what we believe about ourselves, and take control over our journey, I recognize that it only took clients so far, even including myself in my own journey. And I recognized a gap in my skill set that incorporated other types of healing modalities that went beyond the mind, that went beyond the mindset, I guess, in terms of the actual part of our being. And so when I happened upon, on purpose, by accident on purpose, the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, and you were speaking about the method program, it really lit me up inside, in that I was in parallel pursuing this spiritual awakening. And so it touched on so many aspects that I was very curious about in my own journey, but had never experienced.
Yeah.
And so how I saw it filling the gap was that it would not only help me understand it from a personal point of view, but then through that experience, be able to then deliver it and facilitate it for others that went beyond that mindset into really the soul work that can offer so much depth in healing that I hadn't realized until experiencing the program, truly.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's not an uncommon trajectory for those of us who want to serve people in awakening consciousness is, we begin with mindset. And then as we go deeper down the rabbit hole, that awareness that we are so much more, and that there are, aspects of self that must be met through the sacred. And I mean, that's certainly my paradigm of it. I want you to tell me a little bit about, the experience of coming into the method, and I guess what excited you the most about the work. We'll start with that. We can talk about what challenged you as well, but what was most exciting about that process for you?
I think it was because it was so different than any type of training I have ever done. And I've done a lot. I've done formal education, training, all sorts of things. And so I think it really excited me to go to places that I'd never explored before, that really stretched me beyond my comfort zone spiritually. And knowing that it would offer this mutually beneficial impact on my journey and then those who I would inevitably serve moving forward. And I think what really fascinated me was the different tools, I would say, the tools that are provided in this session. We go all over the place. We leverage many different areas. And I found that really interesting, of like really exploring all these different pieces in more detail.
Yeah. Yes. I love it is, it's a journey. It's like, I can see it like, a map, like we go through the dark forest and we meet the demons, and then we, come out the other side. It has that narrative quality to it, where you're not doing one process and then you do another process. It's like this beautiful weaving of
Mm.
a story that is changing consciousness. So I love that description of it. And you also touched on the fact that this work does not happen in isolation, right? You are the first recipient. And so you've had some pretty astonishing life changes in lots of ways. But there's a story that you shared, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share some details about how your own life changed, if you're happy to offer that to us.
Absolutely. Sure. And it was completely unexpected and unplanned and unintentional. But looking back, when I looked at the alignment of the timing and the work that we did, it really all clicked into place. So I had been living for 12 years with an obstructed kidney, went through multiple surgeries to remove obstructions, lived with hypertension for over a decade. And it was a point in time where I was told that it was what it was, that it was almost like this stretch sweater. Once you stretch a sweater, it won't go back
Yes.
into its own form. And so I had expected with my kidney, it would always be borderline obstructed and would be living with that chronic condition.
Yeah.
And um, I have annual renal scans to assess the obstruction and the status of my kidney. And for the last 12 years, each year would get this kind of borderline reading of, it's in the gray zone. We're going to keep track of it. And then a couple of years where it was obstructed, when I would need the surgery to remove the obstruction. And it was a week after I'd finished the program, and I had done my annual renal scan, expecting no different. And much to my surprise, the results that came in um, were that my kidney was completely normal function. I still have trouble expressing it, because believing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it had not only just moved into the normal range, but it had improved almost 70% than what it had been for 12 years, without any other lifestyle changes, may I add.
Yeah.
I had done many physical lifestyle changes over the last couple of years that had helped to address hypertension and really bringing different areas that I realized were actually within my control. But the kidney issue remained the same until experiencing the program, really going into the depths of healing beyond the mind. And even my urologist said, this is impossible. He was, he was actually annoyed because these results shouldn't be saying like that it's normal function, but they were accurate. And when I looked back and I explored more deeply into the kidney's significance, it's when I discovered that it is related to fear, and often fear and long-time fear can be stored in the kidneys. And just when I linked the two together and linked the timeline, it all clicked into place. And I was just in so much awe of the work going beyond just even my emotional state, my mental state. I was experiencing this sense of balance and empowerment, and then to see physical results on top of that. Just it went beyond any sort of expectation that I would have had going into this program.
Yeah. And it's such a humbling story. And of course, healing is multifactorial. You had been consciously working with yourself, your body, your mind, as you say, all these elements for years. And undoubtedly, it's a snowball effect, right?
Absolutely.
But I think that it is, my position is very clear and it hasn't changed. Like until we meet the fear, the subconscious fear program that is showing up symptomatically at any level of our being, we will not change anything. And that is why healing in general doesn't offer long-term benefits to most people, because it is, as you said, that paradigm of I will do something to you which will give you temporary relief, but the conditions that have created that symptom are not being changed within the ground of the being of the client. So I think when we are willing to go into the underworld of our own being, which is exactly what the method is, right? You are doing this 3-month boot camp of, okay, we're going back down into the underworld and just meeting all those layers of fears. It seems inevitable, given all the work you've done to prime yourself to heal, that it was able to happen like that. And it is a very exciting thing when we get evidence, right? There's a before and after, there's scans, there's information, and I'm so grateful for you sharing that with me. I would love to know then, let's talk about the challenges, of the program, any level of that for you. Obviously, you're in Canada. Is that right? Yes. And, it's a global community. Everyone is all over the world. I'm in Australia. It's incredibly exciting that we have a way of meeting and connecting and having this community happening. And, I'm also aware there may be challenges both within that or within other aspects. So what was hardest for you about the work of the program?
I would say in terms of the pace of the amount of information that we were learning and how new of a modality it was for me, I think that was so overwhelming at first. It really, truly, I felt like it was a fire hose of information, of newness that was very uncomfortable. And just we were meeting weekly. It was this next level devotion, honestly, when I look back, this deeper level commitment of my mission. And I think what helped with that sense of overwhelm was, I think you had shared something around being the imperfect student and trusting that we are learning everything right on time, and that there's no behind.
Yeah.
You can't you're right where you are, and it was perfect as it was, and I figured it out and I came through, and I think there was so much support through the weekly sessions, meeting there's a support with my group, my accountability sister, so I think with the resources available, really helped to lessen the sense of overwhelm of like, "Oh, this is too much." It actually was
Yeah.
just enough. It was more so my self-doubt
Yeah.
that I had to overcome and the confidence that I needed to step into.
Yeah.
And once I stepped there, it made all the difference in
Yeah.
my experience.
You've touched on so many really vital elements of the program. And I think that, this is not a casual program, right? It is an initiation, and that devotion that you mentioned, like you are walking through the fire to meet yourself at another level. And it
Mm,
isn't simply the acquisition of knowledge, it is the embodiment of that information to turn it into something alive within you. And yeah, like it can feel like a loss of control, I think, as well, for a while, because you can turn up every week and do the modules and get the information, but in terms of how is this going to move me, how is this going to
mm,
alter me, it's sort of on its own agenda as well. And I think that's really important for anyone considering the method to keep in mind, is like, you know you can't just turn up, do your couple of hours, go home, have that knowledge, tick that box. It's like, okay, give your life to this and you will be
yeah.
richly rewarded, but you will be living inside of it. And I remember one of your sisters saying, this program's exciting, but it's happening outside of the program. This program is changing my life. It's
Yeah.
not just changing or giving me new information. And I think that's really accurate. So thank you for speaking to that, because I think it's important to know, right? If you're going to sign up for something that is going to change your life, which is usually the reason I sign up for anything. I'm like,
It's true. Yes.
I want this, I want something to change.
And yet it's recognizing the commitment too that's required and being serious about it. I think um, I had mostly an awareness of it, but there was still some unknowns.
Yeah.
And yet it was just turning back to why am I doing this? Um, Going beyond the I'm doing it for a qualification. It was so much further than that. And linking back to that why each and every time I think helped with that that devotion you said, that level of devotion that I hadn't experienced before in any sort of
Yeah.
training or qualification.
Yeah. So you have begun to change the model of your business as a result of the training, or as, part of the timeline of your awakening. So what are you creating from here? What is your highest intention for your service from this point?
Mm. So the way I really envision it is the desire to live in a world where the next generations know at the earliest age that they are equipped with their own ability to heal themselves. I see my sons who are 4 and 8, and I see the path ahead for them, that if they knew the different types of ways that they can support themselves through this journey, healing from trauma, healing from sadness, anger, any type of experience that has caused hurt or caused harm, to have them be able to do this proactively and feel capable of doing so, that is my vision. And through that, I see different modalities of healing on a holistic level. So we can access the mind, which I've really mastered the skill of coaching, and I've experienced the incredible power of coaching. And yet I've seen this need to marry it to soul level healing through the method.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that and I've seen changes, not just in myself, but in my clients. And then I have recently added body modalities to my repertoire as a Reiki practitioner. And so marrying these different healing modalities to facilitate healing, to equip others with different tools
Yeah.
to heal themselves, whether it is at the subconscious level, the conscious level, but
Yeah.
equipping them in a sustainable way, like you said, that it's not something that they have to come back to me for,
Yeah.
that they feel empowered to use and take away. And I mean, recognizing healing is a lifelong journey, they can step away with that knowledge and
Yeah.
do it themselves.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that combination and that, you know, being able to meet our clients where they're at, and everybody's entry
Yes.
point will be different, right? And being able to, yeah, have that capacity to take wherever somebody is at and bring all of those skills. And even when you're not overtly working, for example, with the method or subconscious sphere, I feel very strongly and have seen it with the graduates and in my own work that the energetic set point that you're bringing to any of the work that you
Mm,
do is holding something different, and that often
yes.
people can release things that they've been holding on to for lifetimes
Mm,
because of the container and that space that you're creating. So, you know, I often joke we could do macrame with them, you know, we could sit down and do pottery or whatever. Ultimately, it's that energetic frequency that is doing the work. It's energy medicine. And when you
mm,
commit to something that you've done, this multi factorial dimensional skill set, and do the deep work of a deep faith, your capacity to create the conditions for transformation are exponentially increased. And I really honor
mm,
you for that commitment, because you are the real deal, my darling. And I'm very, very honored to have had the privilege to serve you, and
mm.
very excited for the future of your service in the world, and everything that you take forward, and the creation of that legacy that you spoke to, which is, yeah, deeply profound. So,
Thank you.
is there anything that you would like to finish with that you would tell someone who was considering coming into this training?
I would. I'd love to share that you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
So if you're worried that you're not ready for it, that you're not up to the challenge, I would challenge that belief. I know I said to you in an exploratory call before even joining the program, I said, I don't even know if I'm ready. How do I know if I'm ready? I was ready.
Yeah, yeah. You're
And
here.
I think it's
Ready.
just it's all about having that confidence and trusting that you can't get it wrong, and it's knowing that we all have inherent access to our intuition, and it's about really leaning into our own unique way we access it, our own unique traits and strengths, and bringing that to the table as you learn. I think that is the way you can succeed, is just having confidence in yourself, which is no small task, I realize, but
No.
I think it's trusting you truly cannot get this wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, that is, you know, ultimately for me, intuition is the spiritual fierceness, which is that radical self-esteem to know that I am a conduit for the divine. And when I embody that truth, how could I ever doubt myself? How could I ever
Mm.
have gone wrong or be going wrong, right? It is, yeah, so powerful to hear you say that. I'm so grateful for this conversation and for your willingness to share your experience with others. And yeah, so excited for everything that is coming for Sarah-Beth Barrett.
Thank you so much, Ricky Jane.